Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, so often I talk to you about wading, and now that it's springtime right around the corner, I guess we're in spring now, but I talk about how I wade, and I want to be careful that I don't give people the wrong impression and make you do something that might be dangerous for you. I think when you're wading in any type of water, it's really critical that you think in terms of what can happen as I wade. In other words, the last thing you want to do is fall, whether it's because you ultimately could drown or whether you could fall on rocks and break bones. It's important that you try to do it as safely as possible. So how do you do that? Number one, I think it's important that the type of wading footwear that you use, whether it be wading shoes like wading sneakers or hip boots or waders, what's on the sole of those on the bottom of those boots is critical in terms of whether it will grip the surface that you're trying to walk in or whether it will slip on that surface. That's really critical. I love to use, or I have to use, felt. Now, there's spikes that you can use, or there's just regular cleated boots. But felt works the best for me because on the slippery conditions that I find myself so often, the felt tends to not slip as much. So that's critical. The other thing is, it's one thing to be wading in a stream. And in a stream, there's a lot of conditions that I think are really important to realize. The rocks can be slimy. They're of different size. And so it's really critical that as you wade, you don't just barge forward. Somebody that's never waded before might think that's just what you do, but no, you have to sort of feel the bottom with your feet, feel every step before you make it. Start with your toes and inch forward because you might not be able to see the shape of the rocks or see what's there, but you can feel it with your feet. The other thing is the higher the water, the stronger the current. We're talking about streams now. And the stronger the current, the more that's going to offset your balance. It's going to make it tougher for every step that you make. You're going to have that force pulling against your leg at the same time. So the lower water conditions are always more safe to wade in than higher water conditions. And there's just so much that I think it's important for you to understand there. But when I wade, I know that it's a lot more difficult for me early in the season than it is later. Then when you look at ponds, I wade ponds a lot where most people don't even go and fish unless they have a boat. But there, the conditions are completely different. You're talking about muck, and you're talking about slime and conditions like that. And conditions can change very quickly. So again, it's important that you let your feet be your eyes. I don't care how good your vision is. You let your feet be your eyes. And again, you feel with your feet as you go. And finally, remember when you're wading, you are now an intruder into that water. And those fish that live there, those other animals, whether they're beavers or mink or whatever that live in the water, they know you're there. Because you make a grand entrance with sound waves that go off from your walking. So it's really critical. The more careful you can be, not only for your own sake, but for the sounds that you're emitting can help you be a better fisherman. And boy, I'll tell you what, I think this is so critical. It's taken me a lifetime to learn how to best wade. And I got to tell you, every time I go, I have to be terribly careful because there's always going to be one misstep. There's going to be one rock you didn't see. So the more careful you can be, the more fun you're going to have in wading. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.